Hi YouTube, welcome back to another video from Wtf Rc Cars. So, continuing on with the quick vids for the NB4 Plus. This time we're going to be looking at subtrim. So, on your steering or your throttle, we have our trims. And as stock, the top hats are set up for the actual trim. So, if we change the actual trim, we've got -24 on channel 1, or we can set it to center. Now you also have subtrim. So if we go into subtrim and we look on the steering, so currently we've got it zeroed. It's always better to try and set everything up on the RC as 0. Basically just lets you know that all your steering geometry is correct. But if this was slightly off to one side and we needed to correct it, if you correct it in the subtrim, so I'll just go to one at extremes just to show you, and then we come out and look at as steering, we don't get the minus or plus on the actual readout for the steering. And this is because it's subtrim. The subtrim is used for setting up your servo position, and your actual trim is used for when you're driving the RC and you want to make a change. So you can always press the reset and that'll zero it. And this is one of the things that it will affect how the endpoints work and everything. So if you change your subtrim in here, don't forget to come back out and set your endpoints, because it will change your endpoints if you change the subtrim position. But just two ways of using trim on your transmitter. So when you're driving, if you notice you end up putting a bit of negative trim to get your RC to drive straight, once you've finished racing, you can put it back. You can go into your subtrim and you can trim your actual servo in here. So you could dial in the correction, if you like, on the subtrim, and then that would leave your actual steering readout on 0. So you've got a good idea of what straight actually is. The subtrim is usually more useful for certain servos, depending on where the splines line up, will depend where your actual steering arm, servo arm lines up perfectly straight. And it's always better to try and get this perfectly straight on subtrim, then set up all your adjustments for your steering so your geometry is right. But just a couple of little options for you. And I do find it really handy to have these trims as they set standard. Exactly the same for your throttle. You've got subtrim, and same for any of your other channels. So if you were, say, using a rock crawler and your high and low speed gear switch, if it's not quite switching correctly, you can come in here on the subtrim and get it to the point where it does switch correctly. And then you can always trim the actual channel and set it up a different way. But yeah, just a quick way of getting your trim correct, mainly on your steering on RCs, but you can use it for any other channel. But thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. Hopefully you find this useful or interesting, but don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.